Welcome to Steelers Wrap Up on Pittsburgh CW.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Steelers Wrap Up here on Pittsburgh CW. I'm Bob Pompeani. Tonight, we're going to take a look back on the week that was in Steelers football. We'll take you inside the locker room to hear from players and coaches as they get ready for this weekend's game in Miami. We'll also get a breakdown of how the Steelers stepped up on defense last week with Merril Hoge's playbook segment. But we begin tonight with an in-depth look at Sunday's big win over Tampa Bay through Sights and Sounds, brought to you by Steelers TV.
Deep underneath Acrisure Stadium, guarded by a creed, stands a safe haven. Lined by wooden lockers, it fosters a team's will. A desire shared by the collective, not only to achieve, but also to overcome. When faced with the trials and tribulations the Pittsburgh Steelers have, inward is the only place for them to turn. It takes those 53 men, pitted against adversity, to put their will on the line and make their creed become a reality. The Steelers had gone 13 straight games without an opening drive touchdown. In Kenny Pickett's first career start at home, he took it upon himself to change that narrative.
Pickett over the middle, and the pass is caught, and that is Chase Claypool.
They're going to pick up the pace here. Kenny's got it rocking.
Now he's going to run. He's got room. Cuts it inside the 15 and is tackled near the lead stick. They're going to have him down at the 11-yard line. Pickett, shotgun. Back is Pickett. Throws it to the flat. Najee's wide open. He walks in for that Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown. From 6 yards out, wide open, Pickett to Harris.
Wow, you want to talk about a blown assignment. Najee Harris just snuck off to the left flat all by himself. All eyeballs went to the right side of the field, but Kenny Pickett, cool as a cucumber, there was Najee all by his lonesome.
And the Steelers are celebrating Pickett's first career touchdown.
There you go. Hang on to that, baby.
Tampa Bay plotted their course towards taking over the lead.
Pass is caught, first and goal at the 3-yard line.
But Pittsburgh's defense dropped their anchor short of the goal line.
And the Steelers make penetration, and Ogunjobi hits Fournette before he can get on track. Brady back, big rush, he's sacked back at the 10-yard line, and that is Malik Reed. A 27-yarder, it's up and good, and the Bucs have narrowed the Steelers' lead, but a lead it still is. Oh, Brady hitting the balls in the air. Is it a fumble? The Steelers dive for it. Alex Highsmith hit him, but Godwin fell on it.
Oh, Alex Highsmith beat the pants off of Donovan Smith around the corner.
The rest of the half was a stalemate. It wasn't until Brady had a final chance with only a few ticks left on the clock.
Tom Brady has a couple of shots to try to get Suckup into field goal range. And a diving grab made at the 37-yard line. Now the field goal unit is on. Kick is long, high, and it is good. So on the last play of the first half, the Buccaneers turn it into a one-point game. Back and surveying, throws it down the field. The pass is, a leaping grab in traffic at the 30-yard line. Fournette off the left side finds a gap and goes down inside the 25 to about the 15-yard line from 24 yards. Suckup. That kick is good, and again, we have a one-point game. Play action fake. Throws it long down the near sideline. There's a marker. It is caught by Diontae Johnson at the 46, and Kenny is down. And Mitch Trubisky is getting ready to go in.
With Pickett out, the Steelers turned to veteran Mitch Trubisky. The team captain was back in the saddle and looked as comfortable as ever.
Getting off the field late, wide open. Here comes Connor Heyward down the middle of the field. Too many men on the field for Tampa Bay. Who cares?
Yes, it's Connor Heyward.
Gets the snap. He's back. Fires for the end zone. Touchdown, Chase Claypool.
Wow! Mitch seen it. Oh, a little stop route into some zone coverage. What a great job. He just seen it, man, and he let it go. He sees it, then he does it. His see-do, as Mike Tomlin says, is terrific.
You're the first one in the end zone this year. Patience, we got it.
Over his illustrious career, Tom Brady has bested the Steelers 12 times, but only 2 of them were comeback wins. He was hoping to get his third off the ground.
20-12, Steelers lead, but now Tampa Bay on the march. Brady pumps, fires over the middle, the pass is complete, and that's a first down. Dumps it off in the flat, and that is Fournette cutting inside a defender, getting to the goal line, and that's a touchdown. They're going to go for it. 2-point converter back to his left. He's back, fires over the middle, broken out at the goal line. Yeah! Devin Bush in front of Chris Godwin, and the 2-pointer is denied, and the lead is still 2.
The defense preserved the lead. Now, it was on the offense to put Brady and the Bucs away.
Off right tackle, sheds a tackle, fights his way up over the 30. Pyle still moves to the 33. Now that is physical football from the former first-round pick out of Alabama.
Taking on a couple guys, says, no, you're not bringing me down. That's the way to run the football. That's Najee Harris running the football.
And now the Steelers are behind the chains again with a 3rd down 11 at the 36. Back, big run. And he gets out of there, starts running left, throws it down the field. Chase Claypool, a diving effort on the sideline. They do call it a catch. An unbelievable catch.
Oh, yeah, give that man a cigar.
Trubisky coming up big time in relief of Kenny Pickett. Chase Claypool coming up big time with 7 catches at 96 yards. Mitch takes the knee, and this place erupts. That will do it. A major upset.
Billy, how sweet it is, baby.
So the Steelers get a huge win over the GOAT at home. That win, combined with a few other losses by teams in their division, has them right back in the mix of things in the AFC North. Check out the standings. Despite the Steelers' 4-game losing streak, they are somehow just 1 game out of first place entering Week 7 of the NFL season. They went back to work on the South Side this week, hoping to lighten the number on names on that injured list. Coming up next, we're going to give an update on who might be back on Sunday, and we're going to bring you the best of this week's coach and player interviews when we return on Steelers Wrap Up. You're watching it here on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to Steelers Wrap Up on Pittsburgh CW.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to Steelers Wrap Up. I'm Bob Pompeani. You know, for the first time in a month, Mike Tomlin addressed the media on a Tuesday afternoon following a win from the previous Sunday. But he wasn't necessarily patting himself and his team on their collective backs. Here's some of what Coach Tomlin had to say in his weekly press conference.
I think the thing that stands out to me in reviewing the game is the cliche that we live by, the standard is the standard. You know, those are just words. Oftentimes I tell our team through their efforts, they make those words reality. And I just thought Sunday was an example of that. We had a lot of young secondary guys who had an opportunity to ascend in some instances, to reascend in other instances. A guy like James Pierre has played some for us in the past and had taken a step back in terms of his role, and so it was an opportunity to reascend. I thought it was the same for Mitch Trubisky on offense, and I'm just so appreciative of their efforts and their playmaking. It's a mentality that we have here in Pittsburgh that we don't discount anyone, that everyone within our organization is viable, can be a significant component of success for us.
There was an argument between Diontae Johnson and Mitch Trubisky in the locker room at halftime of the Jets game, and that led to, or was a factor in Kenny starting. Is there any truth to that, or was that something that did transpire?
If it were, do you think that I would share it with you in this environment? Probably not. Our business is our business, and I understand in today's climate oftentimes there's leaks. Our business get in the street, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to acknowledge it or confirm it or deny it in these settings. I'm just not. I ain't got enough hours in my day for it. The things that happen among collectives from time to time is normal business. Everyone wants to win. If it transpired, it's good. It probably means there's a couple of guys that wanted to win. If it didn't transpire, it probably means that it should have, because we are aggressively pursuing victory, and sometimes that's emotional.
So Coach Tomlin downplayed the supposed conflict between his quarterback and wide receiver, but questions still remain about that incident. Those questions and a few more were asked and answered by the players later this week, starting with Diontae Johnson himself.
Diontae, there was a story in the paper yesterday about a blow-up that you had with Mr. Trubisky at halftime of the Jets game. Is that something that, A, was accurate, and B, what's your guys' relationship like?
I don't want to get too much into detail with that. We both passionate about the game. Stuff happens during football. We fine. We talked about it. We made up about it over the whole situation. There's no hard feelings towards each other. That's still my guy at the end of the day. I'm still, keep playing for him, cheering for him. Whatever it is that he needs me to do to help him look good out there, I'm gonna do it. Like I said, there's no bad blood between us at all. It's just us being football players at times, and like I said, we're not gonna let that stop us from achieving the goal that everybody are trying to achieve around here.
I take it one game at a time. I can't really compare one to the other because there's some things we did wrong, some things we did right. I think the things that were successful, we didn't let the runners, for the most part, go north to south and get started, but getting off blocks, making sure we got multiple hats to the tackle, and we just have to keep applying that to each game.
Right, we got to get the run game going. It sucks saying this week in and week out, right? We just got to be better. We got to, I don't know if it's schematics, technique obviously has to be better. We got to block these guys and create some lanes for our backs. It doesn't have to be super scientific. We just got to be better.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, the Steelers are far from out of contention for the playoffs, as is just about every other team in the league. Think about this. Of the 32 teams in the NFL, just 10 have a winning record, while the remaining 22 other teams are at 500 or lower. Coming up next, Merril Hoge joins us with his weekly playbook segment. This week, he breaks down how the Steelers were able to confuse the best quarterback in NFL history. Stick around for that.
Welcome back to Steelers Wrap Up on Pittsburgh CW.
At this time last week, most fans and observers, including myself, did not have high hopes for the Sunday's game against Tampa Bay. The injury report was riddled with defensive backs, which had most of us expecting disaster, quite frankly, with Tom Brady coming to town. But the defense was up to the task and then some. Here's Merril Hoge to show us how they raised their game in this week's playbook.
Hi everyone, welcome into the Factor Back Studios. We're back. We've not been here in a while for the Acrisure Playbook show. We're going to go a little deeper this week because amazing things on both sides of the ball, but we're going to actually focus on the defensive side. They did such a good job in the secondary of disguising coverages. And when you hear disguising coverages, what does that ultimately mean? Well, they give you something, they give you a look initially, and then when they snap the ball, they change it. The best way to show it is show you the tape. So let me show you a couple of plays and what I mean by how they disguise things, gave Tom Brady a certain look. As soon as they snap the ball, they change it. So let's focus first. They did a good job of moving around. Tom Brady is going to point out right now the outside linebacker here, Spillane. Now, that's just telling these offensive linemen, you're blocking these 5 guys. Okay, they got that established. Then Tom Brady is going to go look at the coverage. Well, this is what he sees initially. It looks like a cover 2 look. There's 2 deep safeties. Based on this alignment, it could be 2 zone or it could be a 2-man. This is where they got really creative. At the snap of the ball, I want to show you what happens. At the snap of the ball, both safeties come up. Not just one of them, both of them. This defender goes to the middle. This corner works wide. Now it's a cover 3 look, and these linebackers work to the flat. Well, what this does is it creates hesitation here by your quarterback and here by your wide receiver because they're uncertain what coverage it is that they were looking at. Well, the wide receiver's short, Tom Brady makes a bad throw. Now instead of going forward at first and goal at the 10, you now force a field goal. Well, this is also something later in the game. This is 3rd and long. I think it's 3rd and 7 right here. This is the first thing that Tom Brady sees. This looks like man coverage. Everybody is locked on to somebody. So how can you identify if this is man coverage? This is what a lot of offenses will do. They'll put somebody in motion. So that's what eventually Tom Brady does. He asks for his wide receiver to come in motion. Now, as his wide receiver comes in motion, one of the best indicators that this is man is a defender follows him. Well, there goes Millette. He's following him. Wide receiver is going in motion. Everybody else appears to be locked down. But I want you to watch what happens when they snap the ball. As they snap the ball, look at this. He's looking inside the wide receiver who is screaming down middle of the field. That looks like man. In fact, that is man. But this is the only guy who's playing man. Look what everybody else is doing. They're looking back at the quarterback. They're looking back at the quarterback because everybody else is playing a zone. So they changed their coverage. They made it look like everybody was going to play man, but they don't. So Tom Brady thinks, well, you know what? I'll just check it down. With Spillane this wide, if he's man, there is no way he can make this tackle. Well, Miles Jack is actually in a zone coverage, so both of them can drive on the check down. They drive on the check down, they make the tackle, they force the punt. The Steelers now have that flexibility to apply all these different looks in critical moments of the game. If they can do that defensively, this team might get their second win in a row.
All right, Merril, thanks very much. Great stuff from Merril and the crew over at Steelers TV. Coming up next on Steelers Wrap Up, we're going to show you how some players transition from the gridiron to the runway when Missy Matthews profiles Rock Steelers style fashion show. That's next.
Welcome back to Steelers Wrap Up on Pittsburgh CW.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Steelers Wrap-Up Show on Pittsburgh CW. I'm Bob Pompeani. Last week, I was happy to host a very important event that raised a ton of money for some terrific causes. It's the annual Rock Steelers Style Fashion Show. Missy Matthews has a full report right now.
Rock Steelers Style returns to Stage AE for the Steelers' largest fundraiser. The theme this year, A New Era, and is presented by your neighborhood Ford store, PNC, UPMC, and the UPMC Health Plan. A great night with fashion and football mixed together.
I am so excited. A whole nother vibe from virtual. We carried it through virtually, but much better vibe, and for the players to be live and in person is great. So exciting, and for the community, our fans, to see them with their helmets off and how proud they are of their family and their little kids, and just you see a whole nother side. You'll all be proud of our players tonight.
It means so much. Our entire research infrastructure is funded through this event, and the Rooneys and Mr. and Mrs. Rooney are so incredibly generous, and it means a lot. Everything that comes from this program allows us to research the injury of concussion, better understand how to treat it, better understand how to rehabilitate it, and really answer questions that we haven't been able to answer before.
It's incredible, and we've dedicated a scene to what they do in the community so everybody understands and sees it's not just football practice, but they're out there daily raising money and helping other charities.
And all the thousands of dollars raised go to the UPMC Sports Medicine Concussion Program, Cancer Bridges, and the Chuck Knoll Foundation.
All right, Missy, thank you very much. It was certainly great to see all the players and their families back in person at that event for the first time in really 3 years. But most importantly, as Missy just said, the biggest takeaway from the night was the money raised by the Rooney family for some very worthy endeavors. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at the Steelers' upcoming schedule as we wrap up this edition of Steelers Wrap Up here on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to Steelers Wrap Up on Pittsburgh CW.
Welcome back to the program, everyone. We're almost out of time, but before we sign off, let's take a look at the Steelers' upcoming schedule. They're in Miami for Sunday Night Football this weekend. Next week, they're off to Philadelphia to take on the league's only undefeated team, before the much-needed bye week. It's a home game against the Saints after the bye, and then another crucial division game against Cincinnati at Acrisure Stadium after that. It's going to be interesting week to week. It always is in the NFL. And that's it for this edition of the program. We thank you for watching, and please be sure to check out all of our Steeler programming this Sunday and every Sunday on KDKA TV, and we wish you a great game day.